welcome to the talkSPORT Darts YouTube page. It's Mark with Chris Mason and Paul Nicholson. We're looking back at the opening round of 16 fixtures and looking forward to the remaining 4 fixtures that will be played at the Winter Gardens on Wednesday night. Right, we'll take them in the order that we saw them. Jan van Veen, impressive in round 1, Nico, and impressive again in round 2 against Noppert. Lost the opening 2 legs and then went on a rampage, wins 11-5.
Yeah, I think impressive in a slightly different way as well. And I think if you are going to have a huge run at the World Matchplay, you're going to have to go through different experiences. He's showing immense maturity. I feel like we're saying that every day now, miss, but I think tonight when he was 2-0 down, he's acknowledged already on this channel that he didn't feel comfortable with the way he was playing, but he was able to figure it out. And to take a 3-2 lead into the first break, it looked like he'd figured something out, and then all of a sudden, he did go on a bit of a rampage in the middle of the game. He probably should have been 8-2 up, playing beautifully, and Danny was a bit disjointed, and he didn't recover. Van Veen was just really good in making his way through to the quarters for the first time.
Yeah, very little between them statistically, and it's the less experienced player of the two who sort of accepted that, right, it's not one of those nights where I'm going to average some 105, 107, that kind of number. I've just got to find a way to win this. This is my B game. And when you do that, and when you grasp that early in your career, it just holds you in good stead. Look at the career. I know we're going to talk about James Wade, but look at the career he's had. And that is why he's had such a good career, because he knows how to just win a game, not necessarily go up there with flair and flamboyance, although we've seen that from him in 2 matches so far of this World Matchplay. That's a huge secret. It was something that I never ever come to terms with. It's only something that sort of I've looked deeper into, and me and Paul sort of look at, we analyse matches and sequences of play, and you can actually see where a player is just trying to force rather than go, okay, I've just got to take a step back here and then I can take a step forward. And Van Veen's doing that very early still. What is he, 25?
I know there's a lot of respect to World Cup teammates, but there was, I think I mentioned it to you, we were watching it backstage, no celebration really from Van Veen. Not a brilliant, I'm in the quarterfinals, like, right, I'm a step nearer where I want to be on Sunday night. Yeah,
a sign of respect for Danny. And one of the things that he was talking to me backstage about when he'd got the victory was that maybe in the next round he's going to need a little bit more oomph, and he will. Let's face it, it's going to be a Brahma in the quarterfinals. We're going up a genuine step here, not maybe just in class, but in experience and in format as well. Because when you go into first to 16 minimum, we're talking about big boy darts. This is where careers change. Mace knows it. I've not played a great deal of best of 31 darts in my life, and it's hard. If you can succeed at this level, there's no telling what could be next.
Okay, well, Jan van Veen is through. He'll take on James Wade after Wade ended Wessel Nijman's debut campaign in Blackpool. A phrase you use about Jan van Veen, he found a way. Wessel Nijman didn't find a way tonight, did he? Got behind and he struggled really, by and large.
Yeah, he wasn't on his game, and again, we talk about it all the time. As soon as you introduce effort into darts, when you've got that type of throw where you're an aimer and a thrower and not an aimer, and you're a rhythm thrower, as soon as you put effort into it, the throw will break down. And we've seen it a lot with him. We've seen a lot of wild darts, a lot of low drag darts, which again, you tighten the grip, you engage the tricep, you engage everything, the shoulder, everything that shouldn't be there. And once you introduce one, the other one follows, and then it's like just a slippery slope you're on, and you can't get out of it.
If it was after the Lord Mayor's show for Wessel, it wasn't for Wadey, who averaged 104 last time out, and for large parts it was over 106. We thought he was going to go again.
Yeah, we thought he was going to break his own personal best in the matter of 2 games.
Yeah, it went over 102, and you've got a stat on Wade.
Yeah, his last 4 matches he's played here, although he ultimately lost one of them in the semi-finals last year to Luke Humphries, it was over 102. The game before that to get to that match was over 100, a 16-10 against Ross Smith that we all thought he was going to get blown away, and Ross Smith was going to hit the most 180s. We couldn't have been more wrong, but that's typical Wadey. He seems to relish the opportunity to prove everybody wrong. And of course, he's gone into this year's tournament 104.4 for a personal best at the match play, and then backs up with 102.52 against a player that we all thought he could cause him problems. I don't think any of us picked Wessel Nijman to win, but we all felt that he could make it a bit sticky for Wadey. But again, experience. You can't learn experience. You can have all the flair and all the talent and everything that goes with it, but if you don't know how to deal with big stage play, and like Paul said, and I love it, big boy darts.
Yeah, it is big boy darts, and you look at what James has done in his career. He's been around for over 20 years. We are establishing patterns with James. When he comes to Blackpool, he loves to play here. He's had great runs, made the final on many, many occasions and won it. But the thing that I'm interested in a lot after today is how he behaves against opponents when he's got great records against them. He doesn't relent. He actually puts his foot in your throat and he keeps pressing. He had a great record against Wessel coming into this tonight. It's even better now. He will profess that he didn't know. Poppycock, he
I
knows.
think he also broke his record for his longest ever walk-on today. I mean, he left Wessel on stage for
again,
about 5
mind
minutes.
games, isn't it? He's just playing the game. He would never do that. James is never interested. He knows he's up there first. He's hanging about. He's going to make him think and think and think, and then he's then going to frustrate Wessel. We think, well, come on, mate, play the game. Well, you're 1-0 up already, aren't you? You know, although we actually didn't go 1-0 up. And of course, when James Wade won his recent Pro Tour, the first one in many years, he beat Van Veen en route when Van Veen, I think, was 4 or 5 legs up on him.
You're right, I remember. Yeah, you are right. He reeled off the last 5 legs on
yeah,
him
he did. To win it
did.
and then go on to win the tournament.
Yeah, he did. Good point. Yeah, worth remembering. So it's Van Veen against Wade in the first quarter final. Second one, it'll be Bunting against Clayton. Now, Bunting and Anderson were 2 players we said, well, can't get any worse, can it, in round 1? Neither of them played very well. Neither of them played very well tonight either, did they? Let's call a spade a spade. Somehow in the midst of it, I think nearly 60 missed darts at double. Bunting missed double, 12 for a 9.
Yep.
We nearly had a bit of perfection in there. It's just to chalk it down. Bunting, he's through. That's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah, he had to work hard. There were spells in this match, so you think that, Gary's come out of the traps a little bit better, but marginally. Then at this point, you got Stephen coming back into the game, and then Stephen's got the lead a little bit later, and then Gary's mounting this comeback to take 2 extra legs. We've got George Noble on the stage.
Well, we know it's going.
10-10.
We know it's going deep with Noble up there.
It's 10-10, and you're thinking, well, anything's possible now. Could be anything can happen Tuesday, and then you think, I just can't call this at this point. Gary's had a change of equipment, just like he did in the first round, starting with the longer points, then going to the slightly shorter ones with the grip at the top of the point, and it seems like he's got a grip on this match, even from behind. But Bunting's ability to grind something out. We talk about establishing patterns. We've talked about doing that with James Wade. Now we're doing it with Stephen, albeit with a slightly smaller sample size. When he's in a tight spot, he's fast becoming the best person to get out of it. And that's
Bunty never had that quality.
No, he didn't. He was someone who you could break him. And on talkSPORT 2 tonight, I called him a concrete egg. Because you drop him, he's going to be intact. Ability to win the last 2 legs of the contest, and maybe catch Gary at the right time where he did have opportunities to get in front and to stay in it. He wasn't able to do it. Bunting finished it really, really well. Vintage performance? Absolutely not. Grinding qualities? Absolutely. In the quarterfinals, second time here it is.
Yeah, he's just become a winning machine. He's changed, hasn't he? Last year, if he was in a spot, you found he got beat. Now he's in a spot, you're going to back him to get out of it.
Yeah, he would lose 6-5 more than he'd ever win 6-5, or he'd be in matches and then they'd get away from him. And again, he is vastly experienced, but not at this level. It's okay winning what he's won, but over the last 6-7 months, even just talking to him as a friend, it's like you get just a totally different read on him. He's not very long ago he was contemplating knocking it on the head.
Away, yeah.
And I think it was last year, wasn't it? Is it last year at some point? So it's an incredible turnaround, and whether whether it be sports psychology or whatever else, but what he has introduced into his game now is that he's nails. He's absolute granite, and that's something that you would never say. I mean, he had the flair, he had the ability to roll out big averages, but he just wasn't granite. But now he is, and that's why I think he's found a way to beat Gary Anderson. Listen, it's fortunate that you run into a Gary Anderson that plays like me.
Well, I think it should be mentioned as well that Stephen had played Gary at the Matchplay 3 times before tonight. He lost all 3.
Yeah.
He lost to Gary in his debut year in 2014. 2 more times after that, he lost to Gary again. And Stephen knows these things. He knows that there are things that he just needs to break as far as hoodoos or certain psychological hurdles. He's figured this one out, and now that he has, he's probably his best opportunity to win the tournament.
Yeah, going to have to be better, but he's in the draw, that's the main thing. We watched Johnny Clayton Mace beat Mike Dedeker 11-8, and again, a common theme throughout the night, players we spoke to after not happy with how they played, but Johnny Clayton whacked in 9 maximums in that. He found some clutch finishes when he needed them, and crucially, I think, rather like he was with Schindler in round 1, he always had his opponent arms out, because Dedeker produced a 4-leg burst that was world class, and yet he still couldn't get near Clayton to get him beat.
Yeah, the outside of the Vessel Nyman and James Wade match, the other 3 were very similar. You know, once sort of Bunty established a lead, although when Gary got it back to 10-10, I thought, well, here we go, he's gonna find something. Unfortunately for Gary, it just wasn't there. But with Johnny Clayton and Van Veen, I never at one point thought either of them were going to lose. I just didn't. And Clayton now, he's another one that's added this ability to accept, right, this isn't going to be, you know, one of these pretty matches, as he put it in the interview, but I've just got to sit down and or stand up and grind and graft and find any way possible just to get over the line, because you're not remembered for these matches when you go on to win titles or make finals. It's all about making the final, and he's desperate to do that. And we will see totally different versions of both players when they meet in the quarterfinals. I think it's Friday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Because you'll often see it in this modern era of darts. You'll see a game like that. It's not unusual, but what you then see either side of it is the real versions of those players.
Yeah. Mike Dedeker just, I don't want to say struggling, wrong word. Not quite there, is he, at the minute? But he showed in that burst at the end. If he'd have started like that, it could have been a completely different story.
Yeah, I think Mike's working towards something. I was listening to you guys talking about Mike on the air, and maybe there is a little bit more expectation, but I think maybe Mike is slightly guilty of warranting that expectation by talking about certain subjects a little more than maybe he should. This comes with experience, working with the media. I think he does a great job. I'm one of his biggest fans. Technically, it's there. There are just little pieces that need to be sharpened up. Forget about all of the exterior stuff. He can go into the summer now and get ready for defending his World Grand Prix crown. And just stay sharp, stay who you are. Don't try and be anybody else, because Mike Dedeker won the World Grand Prix and has won another title in the PDC circuit for being who he is. Don't try and be anybody else. That is my biggest advice.
Yeah, I would look at the sort of 5 key elements to his game and try and add 2% to each one, which is tiny. But it puts 10% on his game, and that's all he's missing for me at the minute.
He showed in that burst, didn't he? He's got that
it's
level.
there. It's in there. It's
not
just
far away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the top half of the draw. Then Van Veen will take on James Wade. Bunting against Clayton. That will be on Thursday night. You see that live on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel as ever. On Wednesday night, though, we've got 4 more last 16 games. We'll take them in draw order. We'll start off Luke Littler, average 108, battered Ryan Searle, never gave him a sniff. Takes on Jermaine Wattimena. This is a matchup that suits Littler down to the ground. I think, if I recall, he's played him 4 times. His lowest average is 104. It's a disastrous draw for Jermaine, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a disaster because he's playing Luke Littler, who appears to have decided, right, I'm going to turn up and play some darts this week. The fact that he's never beaten him, the fact that the tempo of the game is perfect for Littler, you know, it's just ideal. If you picked Littler a practice partner, I mean this with all the respect, you pick someone like Wattimena that just has a nice pace, because it just allows Littler to flow. And once Littler's in that flow, well, as we've seen the other night, he's just irresistible, isn't he?
Yeah, this fixture is like giving Shane Warne a turning pitch. This could get ugly for Jermaine. If he doesn't turn up, Littler's going to maul him. It's as simple as that. I'm pleased that Jermaine has made the second round, but it never gets any easier. And the mood that Littler was in against Searle, this is going to be as far away from easy as possible.
Yeah.
And it would be one of the biggest shocks in World Matchplay history, in my opinion, if Jermaine were to take him out.
He's got to start well, hasn't he, Jermaine?
Yeah, I think he's got
and finish well.
I think he's got to lead 4-1 at the first break to stand any chance.
Agreed.
And even when you look at what Littler's capable of in a comeback situation, even in a longer format, he's been way behind against some people and still reeled him in. I just get the feeling that Wattimena might have to have the game of his life just to get to the quarters.
Possibly. We'll find out on Wednesday night. Andrew Gilding, for me, still been involved in the match of the tournament. Beat Damon Hector 12-10 in round 1. Missed the double 12 for a 9 as well. He takes on the man, for me, the best comeback, Dirk van Duijvenbode. He was 6-2 down to Rob Cross, turned him over 10-8 in the end. I'm not sure what to make of this one. I think if you gave me a free bet, I still wouldn't know who to back. I've got no idea what's going on.
Yeah, both are capable of going up and playing like some of the matches we've seen tonight. It's just that's just the way they're made. But I've thought about Durk, and I'm not sure again if he's one that tries too hard to be flamboyant and play for the crowd and want these big averages. He's got a strange attitude as Durk. Yeah, I don't. He's one player I'm not sure I quite get, and I think if he was more level-headed and less worried about certain things, it's a bit like his attitude when he said, when I can't remember if you or Dance interviewed him and said, "Well, it's great that all the Dutch players got through." He said, "I don't care." I mean, that's a weird old attitude, because if everybody else around him treated him with that amount of disdain, I'm sure he would care. And that's probably why he's not particularly popular, I suppose. I'm not sure, but I don't know. He seems to want to be obtrusive on purpose.
What are we making with the ear plugs? What's behind that?
Durk is the kind of person who, he's a solo kind of player. He's a lone wolf kind of player.
He even wears them though on the Pro Tour when there's no fans there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think some people have tried that as well, like Justin Pipe and Mervyn King, and maybe some others have tried it. He just wants to be in his own bubble. You look at the early days of Durk's career, he'd be walking around an arena with his backpack on, strolling around like it's a speed walk, and he wouldn't even acknowledge anyone. He would just be in his own little world. And it might be Durk against the world. If that's the way he wants to play it, fair enough. But he's got to go up against someone who genuinely does not care about what you're bringing to the table, because Andrew is going to bring whatever he does to the table, whether you play Littler, Durk, or somebody else. He's going to do the same thing. These are polar opposite people, polar opposite players, and that is one of the reasons why it's the most Dan Dawson game possible.
Yeah, it's tough. It's so
Dan
tough.
Dawson to do that game for now.
He'll have this game on a picture on his wall in his office somewhere, honestly, and it's going to happen.
Goldfinger against the Ober Genius then. 2 more games to get stuck into. Michael Van Gerwen saw off Barney in round 1. Wasn't particularly pretty. Josh Rock saw off Ross Smith. That was eye-catching. Josh Rock's going to be a big favourite.
Yeah, hugely. And it's not disrespectful to Michael. It's a case of looking at form, likelihoods, and confidence right now. Josh is very close to the top of the averages rankings this year. I know averages don't mean everything, but the fact is, Josh's likelihoods are good because he's playing beautifully. His confidence has never been higher, and Michael is a little vulnerable at the minute. Josh will sense this and will want to send a statement to the world saying, I am the man for this game, and I do expect Josh to get the result.
Ross Smith might not have been very good in that opening 5 legs. He was pretty good thereafter, and Rock held him off, didn't he?
Exactly, and Josh still had a job to do, and rather than sort of start to fluctuate when Ross come back at him, he probably actually improved a little bit, which is a great indicator of where Josh Rock's game is right now. And I can't see anything but a Josh Rock win. I don't see where there's a performance in recent weeks, nearly months, where Michael's produced something that made me go, oh wow. Yeah, he's had odd games, yeah, he's picked up an odd title here and there, but they're now few and far between, where it was, it was who was he going to beat in the final. Now, I wasn't shocked he got past Barneveld, because they're both in terrible form right now, so I expect Rock to progress.
Don't get me wrong, I mean, we would love to see Michael play brilliantly and win this game.
Absolutely.
But we have to be honest with ourselves, with the information that we have at hand, it's not as likely as Josh turning up and playing well.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. That is live on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. The final last 16 game on the draw sees Chris Dolby taking on Gerwen Price. Now, Dolby, I won't say fortunate to beat Pietreczko, because he did it quite comfortably. It was fortunate that Ricardo wasn't very good on the night. Gezi involved in that infamous now game with Daryl Gurney. Well, we know one thing about Gerwen. He's going to be match hardened, isn't he? He's won in Poland on the World Series. He's been to a final on the Pro Tour, and he's won on the European Tour. Yeah,
and he had a great test against a very, very good Daryl Gurney, and he had to come through adversity. And I always feel if you have that in your first match in a tournament of this type, it sets you up, because he will go through adversity in this. Maybe in this match, maybe if he wins in the rest of the tournament. And when you've got over something like that, or come through a battle, you feel like, yeah, I can deal with anything. You throw it at me, I've got the answer. And
they obviously know these two have played a lot over the last couple of years, haven't they? There's going to be a mutual respect. There's going to be no funny goings on. It's going to be about who plays the best darts.
Absolutely right. I think when Gezi let the dust settle today after what happened with Gurney, you look at the draw and think, you know what, I want to play someone like Dolby in the next round. Whereas Chris is one of the best 10 players in the world according to the PDC World Rankings, and Gezi apparently isn't. It's just puzzling to me. But I think he wants to play someone who's just going to have a straight game. There's not going to be a great deal of toing and froing or back and forth. This is going to be straight shootout darts, and the only people who are going to try and upset it are the audience, because if they get behind the English player and maybe try and get on Gezi's back, maybe Gezi's more equipped these days to handle that than ever.
Yeah, I think he is, and the pace will suit both as well. They both get on with it. There'll be no antics in that one. Chris Dolby doesn't have that in him. He's a straight shooter and just wants to have a game of darts. Shake your hand at the start, shake your hand at the end, game over, move on. And listen, it's not a foregone conclusion, because Dolby at his very, very best is a match literally.
If he can come out and score big, I think there's a bit of meat on the bone on that one.
Yeah. I think the likelihood is because of the recent. Maybe it's recency bias, but it's not, because it's factual, because it happened. Yeah. It's not just Price has been in good form. Price has been a winning machine.
Chris is due a match play performance. He's got plenty of experience playing here now. But again, if we're looking at data, we're looking at likelihoods and what's happened in this tournament, especially over the last 48 hours, Gerwen is more likely to win this game than Chris. But I'd like to think that Dolby's shaking off some cobwebs in the first round, which is always difficult for these guys, and the girls, of course. It's difficult for them on Sunday because they have to play all their games on the same day. But now that Chris has got Ricardo off his back, maybe he can unlock the shackles a bit.
Okay, right, prediction time. We'll jump ahead to Thursday, because we've got some quarterfinals to look at. Van Veen, Wade, where are you going?
Wade.
Bunting, Clayton.
Clayton.
Okay.
God, this is boring.
Well, there we go. Right, okay. Now we'll look forward to the games on Wednesday night. Last 16 ties. We'll take them in draw order. Littler against Wattimena.
Littler.
Gilding against Durk.
Gilding.
Oh, this is getting boring. Well, I know where you're going to go on these two. Van Gerwen against Rock. Dolby against Price.
I can't go against Price on this one. As much as I would like to say Chris Dolby, I've got to go with Price. He looks in good nick.
6 predictions, 6 agreements. We all know what's going to happen. We're
going to get it wrong. We're going to get it wrong.
Right, thanks to the guys as ever. Thanks to you for subscribing and getting stuck in on the comments and having your say on the darts as well. We really do appreciate it on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. Share it around. We'll see you back Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. The last 16 ties, some big names in action. These guys are not going to get it. It's not going to happen. Dance will be back with us. He'll be back with Chris and with Nico. We'll see you on 7 o'clock on Thursday night, on the Wednesday night, sorry, on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube page.